Okay, good morning. Welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun Benzion. Today's daf is Nedarim daf Ayin Hey number 75. The Mishnah on Ayin Hey and Aleph records a machlokas between Lezer and Chacham. Lezer says that if you're going on a road trip and you want to be made for your wife's upcoming Nedarim that she's going to make while you're away, you can do that. You can't be Makayim her Nedarim before they happen, but you could be made for. He learns a kol shekan. He says, if once she makes another, I can be made for. Certainly before they actually come to be another, I can be made for. And according to the Rabbanan say no. It's a balgal hek and balgal hefer. It's a hekish Rabbanan saying, right? You can't be making a nether, kaim a nether before it exists because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You can't affirm something that didn't exist. So too, you can't be made for something that doesn't happen yet. It sounds like a Rabbanan really technically would agree with the reasoning of Rabbi Lezer. It's just they hold it the hekish in the Torah, right? Or maybe they're saying a reasoning for the hekish. Well, we'll determine that tomorrow. I want to talk about the Rabbanan Shita tomorrow because the Gemara today doesn't finish the discussion of Rabbi Lezer's Shita. That's what the Gemara today discusses, the Shita of Rabbi Lezer. What does Rabbi Lezer mean that you can make for Nedarim before they start, right? Does he mean that, it's a lamdish shayla the Gemara has, does he mean when you're made for the Nedarim before they start that they're chal momentarily, they take effect momentarily for, let's say, tokidei dibur, 3 seconds or 4 seconds, and then the hafara kicks in and it blocks it. Or do you say that the hafara that you do preventative measure before you leave on the road trip actually abrogates the nether before it even starts? It's not chal at all. The nether is not chal. The second it leaves her mouth, it doesn't make it into a nether. It blocks it from being a nether originally, and it's not a nether at all. Now I mentioned many times that I believe hafara is different than hataras nadarim. Hataras nadarim is not removing the nether; it's blocking the nether. Hataras nadarim, you're removing the nether. So it seems to me that's really the two sides over here according to Rabbi Lezer. According to Rabbi Lezer, is it like a regular din of hafara that I block the nether, but it's not gone. It exists. It's just you don't have to be noheg the halachas of a nether anymore. I blocked it, right? Right? Rebbe or the Chachamim are able to block parts of the Torah, but not remove them. You can't remove part of the Torah. You can't be okay the Torah, but you could block it for a certain amount of time. Takash Ben Gershom was over after 1,000 years. It's blocked, but now 1,000 years are over. It's blocked. It exists. The laws of the Torah. You can marry more than one woman, right? The Torah believes in polygamy, not monogamy, according to all the Gemaras and all the Avos. So don't think otherwise. So that's the question over here. Is the pshat that it's like a hafara, regular hafara blocking, or is it maybe stronger? Now, and the Gemara says the nafkamina is that if a woman comes and your wife, when you're away, she makes a neder, and then her friend hears her neder and says vani, and she joins to the neder. So if you say it's chal for a second, her friend can join in during that tokidei dibur, during the time it takes to say shalom alecha Rebbe, which is 3 seconds. But if it doesn't not chal at all, it's precluded. The nether is precluded from taking place. So then no one else could attach to the nether. But the nether happened even for 3 seconds. So I'd like to base the two sides of this question on the statement of Rav Pinchas Shpei Rav, which quoted in the previous two daf, and also in the previous two Iyun Benzion shares, where he really says his svar in the Shita of Rabbi Lezer. Really, his quoted is explaining Rabbi Lezer's Shita, I think in both daf, and definitely in yesterday's daf, where he says, "Kol oderes adas bailing oderes." A woman who's married, I mentioned many times, is different than a girl who's in her father's house or even a arusa, where the protection, the idea of avaras nedarim is to protect her because she's a young girl, she's whimsical, and she might take care of herself, and he can be made for any type of neder, as opposed to a husband and a wife, where there's only certain types of neder he can be made for, and the reason he's made for the nedarim is for his own benefit that his wife shouldn't ruin the marriage. She's an older woman usually. She's a Bulgarian, 18 years older. So he's blocking the nether not to ruin the marriage. The only things that are ruin the marriage are beino lebeina, things that affect them in the bedroom, or things in nefesh where she's causing affliction to herself and she's not going to be happy. And a happy wife is a happy life, and she's not happy. You're not going to have a happy life, so it's going to ruin your marriage. So they gave you the power for the convenience of being made for Nadar. Oh, you could always be mater nether, but it's hard to go to a basin, find the basin to mater nether. So, based on the statement of Pinchas Ben Rav, I'd like to explain the two sides according to Rabbi Lezer. Meaning, obviously, if hafara, she makes a nether, hafara means it doesn't remove the nether, it just blocks the nether. So, we understand the side that, right, and then there's chal, and it's blocked. It's just like a regular hafara. Now, it's hard to understand how it works, right, because I'm just saying something in Amira right now, and somehow it works. We'll have to discuss that more tomorrow, the Rabbanan Shita, why it doesn't work, but apparently, words can mavatal words, mili mavatal mili. So he's saying hafara, he's blocking the nether. Um, and it works when his words work, you know, when she makes a nether, his words kick in. And normally, right, if I want to do Kedushin in 30 days, right, I have to do a Maisa now. Right? I have to do something now. He's not doing a Maisa, it's only Dibur. So it's hard to say Dibur works later on. Maybe a nether is different. Hafara has the koach of a nether. A nether is creating a chalos. It's not just words. A shvua is just words, right? It's just on the gavra. A nether is on the chefsa, right? So it actually creates a status. A nether creates a status. So maybe a hafara is like the anti-status. You're creating a status to move out on the status. Maybe that could take effect like a ma'aseh kedushin, like giving a shavapruta to a woman and saying makadosh you after 30 days. That's similar because you're doing a ma'aseh now. The other side makes more sense than me, that it's not chal at all. And obviously the mechanism over here, Rebbe would agree, it's not through afaras and darim, it's through a mechanism of a t'nai, of a contingency, which is basically sounds like what Rav Pinchas Reder Rav is saying. Kol noderes das bali noderes, right? The simple explanation is that when a wife takes a neder, she's doing it on the t'nai. It's like al t'nai. It's like every time a woman says a neder, she's doing it. She's kilu saying al t'nai that my husband agrees with it, right? I'm becoming a vegan on condition that my husband agrees with it. So if it works like that, it's a t'nai, it's stipulation. It's always a contingency, even though I shouldn't say it. But that's the way how far as a husband and wife work. So it's a contingency plan. So therefore, if he says he reveals his knowledge before he leaves that every nether she wants to take, he's not agreeing to. We already stated. So this t'nai never fulfilled, right? The nether is contingent upon his acceptance of the nether. And if he reveals before that he's leaving, that he's not accepting the nether, so the t'nai was never fulfilled. The nether was never chal. That makes a lot of sense. The other side makes less sense because we have to say kol deres the ba'ilei deres doesn't mean it's a t'nai, it's a stipulation. And this is the way I explained it before. It's just explaining the construct of the Torah, that the Torah, the reasoning of the Torah, the reason the Torah gives the husband the ability to be made from the dharma of his wife, married wife, the suah is for shalom bayis. So therefore, it always has to be when there's the contract of marriage, right? We said even yesterday, just giving her mazonos, being obligated to give feeder, is like marriage. So once he has that contract of marriage, he's able to maintain the shalom bayis and made for the nedarim. It's just explaining, Rav is just explaining, kol deres das ba'ilei noderes, once she gets food from him, or once there's marital obligations based on the ksuva, and they're married, and the kinyan of nisuin, so then there's a contract of marriage, and then he has this convenience of maintaining shalom bayis. All there's das ba'ilei noderes when they're married, right? The Torah gave this convenience to the husband to maintain the shalom bayis in the marriage, but it's not a t'nai. That's the other side. Obviously, we have to learn that it works in a hafara. I'll discuss tomorrow how the hafara now, my amira can vatal her amira later on, right? Where did your words go? Your words went to the thin air. We'll talk more about Elazar and the Chamim, but that's basically the two sides of Rebbe Elazar on today's daf. Ayin Hey. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you on the next one.